Hi, everybody. I hope you're really enjoying your first week of iHeartStats. We really tried hard to make this course fun for you and at the same time make things clear and hope that you really learn something about statistics along the way. It's really great that we have over 17,000 people taking this course now. I'm very excited to be teaching that many students, and I hope that you'll all stick with us throughout the course so we have 17,000 at the end as well. The last thing I wanted to talk about today was just a couple of little clarification points from the lesson this week. And just from watching the message boards, we noticed a couple of things came up. And so I just want to add a little bit to clarify those two issues about levels of measurement, which is our topic this week. The first thing was that there was some confusion about why temperature is an interval level scale instead of a ratio level scale. And I just wanted to remind you that the difference between interval and ratio scales is whether or not the 0 point on the scale means that there's nothing of the thing, okay? So with temperature, when you get down to 0, whether you're using centigrade or you're using Fahrenheit temperature, it doesn't mean that there's no temperature left. It doesn't mean that there's no heat. It's just an arbitrary point. In fact, you can see that it's an arbitrary point because 0 is a different level of heat in the Fahrenheit scale than it is in the centigrade or Celsius scale. Okay, and so that 0 point doesn't mean there's nothing. And so when that's the case, that's how you know that you have an interval level scale instead of a ratio level scale. With a ratio level scale, that 0 means there's actually none of it, okay? Another way of thinking about it is clothing sizes. Sometimes clothing sizes are measured in a way that's actually a ratio level scale. Like it'll give you the number of inches around the chest or something, 38. Okay, that's a ratio level scale because when you have 0, if you got that actually down to 0, there wouldn't be any chest left. It would actually mean there's 0. But in other ways of sizing clothes, the 0 doesn't mean there's nothing. In the United States, women's dress sizes go down 6, 4, 2, and 0. And the size 0 is not no clothing. The size 0 is actually, there's still a dress. There's still a dress size that's 0, okay? And so that's an arbitrary point because 0 doesn't mean no clothes. It means it's a small size, but there's still clothes, okay? And when that happens, that's an interval level scale, okay? That's an arbitrary 0 point. All right, so the same thing with temperature, and so hopefully that makes that a little bit more clear. The other question that people had was about a question we had that asked people how many children they wanted to have someday. And if you just ask people that question in a really straightforward way and wrote down their answer, they said 5 or 2 or 3, that would in fact be a ratio level scale. But the way we presented it in that particular question, it was actually an ordinal level scale. And why was that? Well, it was because we didn't just record the number. We actually put them into little groupings, okay? So we had a group that was 0. We had a group that was a little bit more, that if they had 1 or 2, we put them in that category. If they had 3 or 4, we put them in that category. And then if they had 5 or more, all the way up to however many, if they had wanted to have 7 kids or 11 kids or whatever, they were all in that one category. And so those categories are not all equally sized in a sense. And therefore, it's just an ordered grouping instead of something that's actually a ratio scale. So we kind of had low, medium, high, and really high was basically what we did. You can always take something that's a ratio scale and you can chop it up into chunks and turn it into an ordinal level variable, okay? So if I asked you how much dog food you gave your dog for dinner, you might say 3.2 ounces or 4.5 ounces or 7.8 ounces of food. That would be treating it as a ratio level scale. But you could also take those ratio level scales and recode them into just a little, a medium amount, or a large amount by saying anybody who says less than 3, I'm calling them a little. 3 ounces, that's a little bit of food. And anybody that says 4 through 6 ounces, I'm going to call them medium. And anybody who says 7 8, 9, 10, all the way up the rest of the way, I'm going to say that's a large amount. So I've taken my ratio level variable and turned it into an ordinal level with just 3 categories: a little, medium, and a lot. And you can always do that with a ratio level scale, as you can turn it into a lower level kind of variable. And in the case of the question about children, we were actually taking a ratio level scale and turning it into an ordinal level scale because of the way that we treated the information that we had. I hope that makes it a little bit more clear. Oftentimes, it's possible to take a variable and use it in different ways like that. And we'll see later on in the course that occasionally there's good reasons to do that. Okay? All right. So that's it for the questions that came up on the board a lot today, and hopefully you've been able to have discussion with other people on the boards in the class for things that have seemed a little confusing. As we get further into the course, there'll be a lot more opportunity to do that. The material in the first couple modules is pretty simple, and we won't see as many questions, but we'll see a lot more as we get further in the course, and we'll keep monitoring those and finding ways to help you understand things better that seem a little confusing. All right, that's it for this week. I'm looking forward to seeing how you're doing as we go through the next couple weeks, and I'll check in and visit with you every week as well. So, all right, see you next time on iHeart Stats.